There you go. Welcome. So let's see, what do I need to tell about Cloud Physics and SAF, and why are those tools there? Because of the end of LANAMARK inside HPE. Okay, at the end, I also have a demo, so please stay here and keep on looking. Now, this is the agenda for today. First, we're going to take a look at the details of that LANAMARK retirement. Then we're going to take a look, because there are two tools. We have SAF and we have Cloud Physics. And then finally as well, we're going to take a look how Cloud Physics is helping you, for instance, for SIMPLIVITY sizing, which was also the use case why we were using LANAMARK until now. Okay, hold on. I have a practical issue here. I just get a message that apparently you get a black screen. Hold on, because at least from my side, what I can see is, from my side, I can see everything nicely. Hold on, let me disconnect, stop sharing, and then start sharing again. One moment, please. I just need to be sure that you can see everything fine, of course, right? So I stop sharing and then start sharing my screen again. So there you go. So please let me know that you can see my screen with the agenda. Yes, it's good now. Thank you very much. Hey, thank you for letting me know. So agenda, LANAMARK retirement, SAF, Cloud Physics, SIMPLIVITY sizer, and a demo. Meanwhile, of course, if you have any questions whatsoever, we have opened up the Q&A. So at the end of the session, I will plan as well some time, of course, for all your questions. Okay, let's get started. The LANAMARK retirement. So when was it? Somewhere in August, a little bit more than a month ago, we got that email from HPE and LANAMARK saying that LANAMARK is stopping, not as a company because it's an external company, not as a tool, but at least HPE is stopping to use LANAMARK as the assessment tool for instance, SIMPLIVITY environments. And that set date, that retirement date is set on October 1st, so which is in 1 week from now. Okay, what does that mean? You still have a week to finish all the running assessments, because also myself, I have still a few running assessments. So in my agenda, and that's what you need to do as well, please put the 30th of September in your agenda to export all the data, all those reports from your LANAMARK portal, and save all those Word and Excel files, because from October 1st on, yeah, you don't have access anymore. Okay, so we need to switch to a new platform, and HPE is not delivering you one, but two. Well, we're going to take a look in this webinar about the two differences, about the two, key advantages of both tools, of course. Okay, so, but be aware, 30th of September, please export all those Word and Excel files from all your opportunities, your assessments inside LANAMARK, because from October 1st on, LANAMARK will stay existing, but then it's a paying version, so you will need to pay for that, a tool called LANAMARK 1, right? So what are we going to do? Create a list engagement, download and export all the reports on September 30th, because from October 1st on, LANAMARK 1 is not available anymore, at least not for free, for all the HPE partners. Now, let's take a look. What do I need to take? Well, there's not one, but there are two tools. Now, for those who have experience with HPE storage, probably you will recognize SAF, or you have heard about it. Maybe you're even using it, SAF, Storage Assessment Foundry. I used it in the past as well. Now, SAF is more a tool, exists for many years, but it's coming from the storage team. And it's a tool that we still use today, and it keeps on growing. There is a roadmap with new features coming, but it's more storage oriented. We have an older storage system, and then what do I need which information do I need to do the right sizing for a new storage system? Now, the nice thing, of course, is that it's not only taking a look at your storage environment, but also to the compute and to the hypervisor, because there's an integration also with, for instance, Windows, Hyper-V, and VMware. So you will see, we will give a short demo about SAF, which information that you can find in there. Okay, so the advantage, well, you see there, you can do storage, physical servers, and virtual servers on Microsoft and VMware. Collection granularity, every 15 minutes, it's taking a snapshot of all the telemetry data, and then it will display the information in that portal. 5,000 VMs, not that bad. How does it work to collect the information? It's similar to LANAMARK. It's an executable that you need to run. There's also CLI support. And then in that executable, you need to connect to your vCenter. And then in most of the time, less than 10 minutes, you will get that collector set up. And then all the data is sent to that SAF portal. Now, at the other side, when was it? I think in April timeframe, something like that. HPE announced that they acquired a company called CloudPhysics. Now, also myself, I had some experience already with it a few years ago with CloudPhysics through the Master ASE certification program. And I liked it a lot. The only thing was that you were not allowed to use it except if you were invited. So it was a quite strict community who were allowed to test and to validate it. Well, now apparently there was a reason behind it, because HPE acquired CloudPhysics, because they said, yeah, we like LANAMARK, but you will see in the demo as well that CloudPhysics is delivering you much more information compared to just, an export and a Word file and an Excel sheet with all the information of all the telemetry and the performance data. You will see in the demo. So I understand why HPE said, well, we prefer CloudPhysics. The outcome is much more valuable. Okay, now some similar things, of course, also some differences, and why today we still have those two tools. We'll see in the future what will happen if they're gonna merge them together, or what will happen. I have no idea. I have some idea, but nothing official here. That's just my assumption. But what you will see is CloudPhysics, great tool, but VMware only today. Okay, so on the roadmap, the idea is that there will be other platforms like Windows and Hyper-V are supported, but today it's VMware only. Now, collection granularity is every 20 seconds, so we can dive deeper, much more into detail about peaks and spikes and performance troubleshooting. Really cool information that you can find in here. Take a look at the demo. So it's vCenter, and technically, it is a virtual appliance. Okay, so it's not an executable that you need to install at a customer site like you had to do with LANAMARK and like you have to do with SAF, Storage Assessment Foundry. So here with CloudPhysics, you will see it's very easy. You will get the possibility to download that OVA, OVF file, or you just get a URL that you can enter in your vCenter, deploy that OVF. It's a really tiny, small virtual machine. In less than 10 minutes, it's up and running. Yeah, you power on that virtual machine. You have to give it an IP address and then put a Unicode in there, the Unicode of your assessment. And that's it. At that moment on, it starts collecting all the telemetry data of your vCenter environment, and then it is sent to that cloud portal, because this is also a SaaS platform, a cloud-based platform. Now, what's important difference in here, as you can see as well, who owns the collected data? Well, with LANAMARK, it was owned by LANAMARK. Now we can say that also for compliance reasons, all the information is collected, but also stored by HPE and not by an external company. Might be valuable for some people. Now for CloudPhysics, some guidelines there as well. So it's the program started internally. It was in September and August internally for HPE people, and now you will have to request access, of course, okay, because you HPE partners that we are supporting, of course, you need to get access to that tool. So that's an email that you will need to send. I will show you later in the presentation as well. It's quite easy. It's cloudphysics@hpe.com, and normally within a day you will get a confirmation so that you can create your account and that you can create those new engagements, those new assessments. Okay, but that's from October 1st on. You will get access to that tool and you can invite your customers. I'll show you later on how it works. Okay, so let's take a quick look first at SAF and then at CloudPhysics, and then we'll give the demo. Now, SAF, it's a collection tool from HPE, exists many times already. Microsoft Hyper-V physical virtualized servers, storage environments. That's where it started because it supports also external third-party storage arrays like EMC and so on. We can collect all the information from all those infrastructures and then give you all the information to size an HPE storage solution, of course. Okay, so it's also supporting online but also offline collection, so you don't need that permanent connection to a cloud portal. Yeah, might be important for some customers. So what you're going to do is you're going to export that data in a file and then upload it in the portal for analysis. So that's what you can do as well. And this is a tool, exists quite some time, already available for HPE partners like you as well. To access it, it's quite easy, saf.hpe.com. Okay. So some key features that we need to be aware of. Well, there's nothing to install at the customer side, so also we don't have to ask questions about third-party tools, and so it's just that one executable grab and go data collection. That's it. You have online analysis. It's also possible if you don't have an internet connection at that moment. Offline analysis is possible as well. I have some screenshots and some in the real life demo. I'm going to show you which kind of information that you might expect. It is quite complete. Okay, so you have to go to saf.hpe.com. By the way, this is also the place where you can download, for instance, Ninja Stars, for those guys who are working with Ninja Stars for storage sizing. Well, that's the same platform finally where you can find that one. And so you will see here, this is the main dashboard, the main portal. And it's quite complete. It's ready to use because there is online training available, right? So there are some videos, there is an online presentation available, how to get started with SAF. And then, of course, you will download that so-called SAF collector. Okay, so you'll get an email with the download link. You will get that executable in there, and then you run that one. Nothing to install, you just run that executable, you connect them to your Windows or your VMware environment or to that storage array, and then you will get finally that SAF assessment in that portal where you can then export it to the file what you need. But this is then all the information that you will need to put, for instance, in your SIMPLIVITY sizing tool. But you will see this is not linked to SIMPLIVITY only. Also, CloudPhysics is not linked to SIMPLIVITY only. You can also size DHCI and Synergy and just virtualized servers as well in there. So it gives you much more information compared to a traditional LANAMARK assessment. And like I said, it's not because HPE acquired now CloudPhysics that SAF is also end of life. No, there is a roadmap. I'm also in those calls. And for October, for instance, quite soon now. They're adding more panes, more screens, more information that is requested. And by the way, since I am in that ambassador team, if there is information that you would like, well, I can always report it back to the SAF team directly, and then they might consider to integrate all those panes, all those views in there as well, because we're always giving them, hey, we need this number, we need 95 percentile information on IOPS and latency and so on. And so they're putting all this information in those screens because the information is in the database. They just need to visualize it, of course, right? Now, at the other hand, of course, CloudPhysics, I love it already. It's a great tool, even that it's today, VMware only. There's more to come, but you're gonna love CloudPhysics as well, because it's much more than an assessment tool to capture performance, telemetry information, and then use it for a sizing. You will see that it's doing analysis, it's giving you recommendations. So you will use this tool not to do a sizing, but you will become really a trusted advisor, because you will see that there are some so-called cards in there. So those panes, so dashboards, they are called cards. There are multiple cards in there where CloudPhysics will find good but also bad configurations, so not optimal configurations will be displayed as well in there. So you're gonna do optimization opportunities, you will see them as well. Hey, maybe you need more of this, you need less of that. Did you know that you are doing oversubscription, you're doing oversizing or undersizing? Well, all this information will come out. Why is that? Because they're taking more than 200 metrics across the VMs, across the host, the data stores, the network. There are so many parameters that are combined in that report. And then, like I said, you will get much more outcomes in there. At the top, that host and that guest analysis, well, this is something that you could see as well in LANAMARK. We get that overview from my hosts and then my virtual machines with CPU and memory and storage IOs and so on. That's okay, but here you will see now that there is much more analysis behind. Hey, we see bad configuration about HA or PCI IO devices that you have, bandwidth issues. Sizing analysis, we're going to give you recommendations, IO contention, data store contention, and so on, overcommitment or undercommitment. Well, all this will is available in here as well. And the really nice one as well is that there are simulators on there. So there is a simulator, for instance, to see, hey, this environment with 10 servers and 100 VMs, let's say, how much does it cost to run it on-prem or through HPE GreenLake, or even on Microsoft Azure or AWS? So there are simulators in there to show to your customer, hey, you have so many CPUs and so many IOPS and so many gigabyte or terabyte of storage. Well, if you want to run this on-prem, this will be the price. If you want to run it in the cloud or through HPE GreenLake, which is the cloud that comes to you in your data center, but you're going to pay just for what you're using. Well, all these situations can be simulated through CloudPhysics cloud simulators as well. Okay. So ease of use. Well, it's easy because that observer, it's called an observer, that little virtual machine. It's a little Linux appliance that will be installed. Less than 5 minutes, it's up and running on your vCenter. Okay, so when you create that new assessment, you will get the possibility to download that OVA, or you get that URL, and it's that URL. When you go in vCenter deploy OVF, just copy paste that URL in there, you hit OK. I did it yesterday evening again to test it. In less than 2 minutes, that virtual machine was up and running. Then it powers on. It asks you for the end user license agreement. Yes, I agree. Then it will ask you for the IP address of your vCenter with the username and the password. It will connect to it. Once that it's connected, he will ask you for an ID, that CloudPhysics unique ID, which is displayed in the email that you receive. You just have to type in that code because that's the unique code for your assessment. You hit OK, and then in less than 15 minutes, the information is already visible in your CloudPhysics portal. Now watch out, just like with LANAMARK, we advise that you leave it running for at least 7 days. Because why is that? Because at that moment, after 7 days, there's not only the collection of the telemetry data, but there's also the analysis, the intelligence, and the first reports will come out with actionable intelligence after 7 days. I'm going to give you some practical examples in the demo. By the way, it's also secure. All the communication that is sent is encrypted, right? There is no user data sent. It's only telemetry data. Yeah, we see the virtual machine names and the IP addresses, but that's it. Okay, besides that, it's all telemetry performance data, and it's all encrypted, sent to the CloudPhysics portal. Now about the insights then, well, all the things that you might expect, you can see, and you can drill down up to 20 seconds. Now, the important thing is there's no impact whatsoever on the performance. Why is that? Because the analysis of the data is not done on the customer's environment. Yeah, we only get that we do that data collection with CloudPhysics. So there's no agent to install in vCenter either, right? So we have that collector, gets the information from your vCenter through the APIs, and then encrypts that data and sends all that data to that cloud-based SaaS platform. And all the analysis is done in the cloud. So there is no performance impact whatsoever on your customer's environment. Okay, you see here all the insights, typically host level, VM level, storage, network, but you will see the CPU, memory, storage, bandwidth, the cache behavior, latencies, and so on. All this information will be collected, but there's no analysis on premises. Everything is sent to that cloud portal. And so that's a continuous process that is happening for you. Okay, now, very important for you as an HPE partner, of course, well, it's provided at no charge, okay? And so what's the outcome? Well, we have all those insights. You will see it in the demo. I have some screenshots in the presentation as well. The time to decide, the time for sizing is very short, okay? After 15 minutes, you already have a view on what's running. The actionable insights after 7 days, then you get those recommendations already. And you have those simulators in there. So it's quite easy to show what is best to run it or in the cloud, but you will see the cloud is not that cheap at the end. And so we're going to show you how you can do it in a better, more efficient and cost-effective way in an on-premises solution. Okay, so this is the process, what you're gonna do. So you're gonna log on to the portal, you're gonna send an invite. Right? So you put the customer's name with the customer's email address in there, because yes, the customer can do this himself. Of course, you can send an engineer or do it remotely, but at the end, it's so easy that even the customer can do it himself to deploy that observer. Okay, he gets that URL of that OVA file, or he downloads the OVA file and then uploads it in the portal. It's a few megabyte big. It's not that big. And at that moment, you power it on. There's a video available, by the way, in that mail that you get. There's a video, there's a little PDF that explains everything. And then all those insights within 50 minutes are available for you, the HPE partner, and also the end customer, because yes, the end customer can also have access to that CloudPhysics portal. Okay, so you're going to activate it. Takes around 5-10 minutes. So it's a V app, lightweight, 5 to 10 minutes max to install. And then at that moment, you're going to leave that assessment running from 1 up to 30 days, right? Like I said, after 7 days, you get those analysis already. But leave it running for 30 days. At that moment, you get a really nice overview of the min, the max, 95, 99 percentile data that will be visualized in there. And then you have all those cost calculators as well in there. Now about that observer, so this is how it looks like. So when you create that new assessment for your customer, well, you will get this page here with the link, with the URL, or with the download of that OVA file. And then here you have the guide. So that explains you how to configure it. It's just the IP address of your vCenter, username, password. And then here you have that organization token that you need to type in, because that's the unique link from that observer with your portal. That's it, 10 to 5 minutes. Take a look, 8 gig of RAM for vCPUs, 1 NIC, 12 gig disk, and you need internet access because all the data for the analysis is sent to that SaaS portal. Okay, vCenter credentials can be read-only. It doesn't even have to be administrator account. Okay, and then the customer view will get this. So when your customer logs on, he get a few cards. So we call this cards. You get a vCenter summary. You get a host analysis, guest analysis. So these are the ESXi servers. These are the virtual machines. You get some recommendations about right sizing simulator. So you see that red 3, 10, and 20. Well, these are 3 hosts that have recommendations, and there are 10 VMs with 10 VMs with recommendations, and there are 20 VMs who are not right sized. It can be oversubscribed, oversized, or undersized, but there are some recommendations. And also, that was quite important, that this one had to be in CloudPhysics, the hyperconverged sizing analysis. You will see how easy it is, how to collect that information and get it in that SIMPLIVITY online sizing tool. Okay, like I said, this is always nice to take a look at, is that cloud simulator, to have it running on premises, but then also in a cloud. And there is that knowledge base advisor. I'm going to give you an example as well of that knowledge base advisor in my demo. But wouldn't it be great that you have servers and that you can say, hey, I have here this server. Maybe you have a customer that has a DL380 Gen 8 or G7, and for some kind of reason he wants to leave it running with or without support for some kind of reason, but he wants to upgrade to VMware 7. Well, you will see that there's a possibility to see, well, these are all his current servers. Well, they are out of support, yes or no, supported by HPE or other vendors, yes or no. And then also, what if I'm going to install VMware 6.5 or 6.7 or now 7.0? Well, you will see how easy it is to see that is supported and that is not supported. So you will get more opportunities to sell maybe even more to your customer, because we have that knowledge base advisor in there as well. Now, of course, when you're going to log on as an HPE partner, as that trusted advisor, well, you will get much more information. Okay, so you will see, besides those typical host, guest, sizing simulators, you will see things about licensing. You will see more in-depth information about the shared storage PCI devices, HA, high availability recommendations, if everything is high available, if everything can run when a server dies, and so on. Then, because this is at the top, the infrastructure planning, you have performance troubleshooting with much more cards available, insights about the networks. There are virtual machines maybe with limits and reservations configured, which you weren't aware of, but this is limiting the performance of that virtual machine. Aggregated performance, IO contention, data store contention, host resource contention. Well, you get on performance troubleshooting a lot of cards, and also about storage space. So you will see that Always a challenge if there are storage snapshots on host, on data store, or on virtual machine level, because all those snapshots, they are also generating additional IO and having an impact on the performance. Space analysis on the data store, on the guest level, unused space, orphaned vdisk files, and so on. So there are plenty of cards there available for you as well. And then finally, the last one are all these cards for health checks. So you get also a lot of cards here about the health of the hardware, but also, for instance, the configuration of a cluster, VMware HA, VMware DRS. So that's that knowledge base advisor that is in there. Also, always a challenge when we're working with iSCSI networks, Jumbo Frames, Network MTU Health, if all those hosts have all the good parameters configured and so on. So as you can see, you as an HPE partner, that trusted advisor view, you will get much more information compared to, for instance, LANAMARK, because for me, LANAMARK, it was all about that infrastructure planning. It just gave you the information about how many IO and CPU and memory and capacity, and that's it. So here, CloudPhysics gives you much more outcome of this tool. So because if you're going to take a look at those details, so when you hit those cards, so those cards will give you much more information. This is an example now of the servers, the physical servers. You will get the information not only about HPE, but also we will, nobody's perfect. We will recognize Lenovo, we will recognize Dell servers as well. And then, of course, we're going to tell you how good or how bad or how old that they are, and with which model that they need to be replaced, of course, with an HPE server. You will see that lever in here. I will give it a live demo for you. But then when you open it up, then that switch, you will get much more information about that host or about that virtual machine, or about that data store. And then at the left, you always have that filter pane at the left. So where you can drill down, show me all the servers out of support, with support, but they are in the last year of their support, and so on. More additional cards, VM right sizing. So he will tell you here, hey, I see that this VM has, let's say, 4 vCPUs, but in the last 30 days, he never used more than 1 vCPU. So we advise you that you go from 4 to 2. You are doing over provisioning, or maybe you're doing under provisioning. We see that that virtual machine is ballooning all the time. So maybe we should give it more memory as well. So also right sizing, those recommendations is all information that comes out directly from CloudPhysics. With LANAMARK, the information was there, but you had to do the analysis yourself. Hey, I am helping you already a lot of years now with LANAMARK, and I went to multiple customers where I saw, I don't like this number, I don't like this number. Hey, what do you think about that? Or do you have a problem there? Well, now I, or maybe you, when you're experienced with LANAMARK, reading the Excel sheets from LANAMARK, well, at that moment, you were able to get the information out there, but you had to do it yourself. Well, now with CloudPhysics, you will get the recommendations directly from the assessment. Yeah, so that's why I think, honestly, yep, CloudPhysics is definitely one, maybe even two steps forward. Yeah. Other cards about shared storage analysis. So you will see your data stores. Also there you can see what is normal, what is not normal. We are at a top of the utilization. So if everything is green, that's good. If there are red numbers in there, well, these numbers are not good. So also there, CloudPhysics is recommending, is recognizing as well the storage by vendor and by model. Yeah, and you will get all the typical performance charts. You can drill down completely up to 20 seconds. So if you see that one peak in here, you can drill down up to 20 seconds granularity and then see which VM is causing that IO latency or that spike whatsoever. So all this information can be seen here as well. And now if we go a little bit bigger, if your customer has multiple vCenters, multiple sites, multiple countries, multiple locations, well, at that moment, even there, no problem for CloudPhysics, because there is that so-called dependency map. And so here now you can see all the vCenters that are delivering that information and who is connecting to who. And like I said, the analysis all is done in the cloud. You just need that collector per vCenter. You have a collector, and then those collectors are uploading that information to the SaaS-based environment. Yeah. So now, of course, once that we get all this information, the whole idea was, well, LANAMARK was there for the SIMPLIVITY sizing, right? And then you had to pick yourself in the Excel sheet and in the Word file all those numbers that you need to fill in that SIMPLIVITY sizer. Well, now here you will see that we have a card. This was one of the first things that needed to be added, because you will see that there will be now also other cards for sizing other solutions from HPE. I'm thinking about servers, I'm thinking about Apollo, maybe even Synergy, DHEI, by the way, is coming as well. So for all those HPE solutions, there will be a card to help you with that sizing analysis. And so when you hit that card, you will get this information. So you will get a complete overview with vCPUs, physical CPUs, allocated storage, networking, and some graphics for you. And this is the outcome. What we had also in some kind of way with LANAMARK. Now the magic button is here at the top right. Okay, so when you hit that button, show the SIMPLIVITY sizing tool metrics, you will get this pop-up, these numbers. And guys, these numbers are the numbers that you need to fill in the SIMPLIVITY online sizing tool. And then you will get your recommendations directly. Now, this is the only thing today that you will need to do. You have these numbers, you have to fill it in the SIMPLIVITY online sizer. I can tell you already, they're working on it. Yeah, it's just an API that needs to be developed. That needs to be finished to be developed, because they are working on it. I have seen it in beta already, but the whole idea is that these numbers, that here there will be a button that will open up directly the SIMPLIVITY online sizer, and that all the information is entered for you. Okay, so that you don't even have to copy paste it anymore, but from here you will get directly a button. Well, for this environment, you will need 4 SIMPLIVITY nodes with 384 gig of RAM, just giving an example, right? So that's where it's going. Of course, now CloudPhysics, it's not because it's working now. No, they keep on as well developing, enhancing the CloudPhysics tool as well, of course, right? Now, of course, what is the customer profile today? Well, like I said, it needs to be a VMware customer. You can see that here, currently required the future collection mechanisms to collect information from Windows Hyper-V, for instance, or Linux environments. Well, that is on the roadmap. I don't have any dates on that one, but today, VMware. Mixed workloads. We can have small, medium, big environments with Oracle, with SAP, whatever, something. All those workloads are recognized. Even multi-site is supported, and you will get that outcome as well, even on licensing sprawl, because they're going to do an analysis of those licenses as well. If the customer has an idea, but most of the time they don't have an idea about the real data center cost, well, at that moment, we can give that information there as well. So if you have that customer who have these challenges about performance issues, about not knowing the real cost of his data center, not knowing about what about my licenses and my hardware, is it okay? Am I undersized? What if I want to do this? And of course, if there is a hardware upgrade or a consolidation of your environment, if that is needed or wanted, well, at that moment, of course, initially today we're going to do it with SIMPLIVITY, but all the numbers are there as well to do a sizing for other HPE tools, of course. Okay, Because then finally, before we go to the demo, is then that link with the SIMPLIVITY sizer. Well, once that you have that those 6 numbers that you have seen, well, then you go to the SIMPLIVITY sizing tool. You log on, and then you're going to create a new sizing. And then you have to put in those 6 numbers in there about CPU, memory, storage, and so on. Okay. At that moment, there you go. So I've put those screenshots in here for you. So you're going to create a new sizing. You got to give it a name. You're going to give it 1 or multiple clusters, depending on how many sites that you have. So you're going to create that sizing in there. And then those numbers that you got from CloudPhysics, well, it's these numbers that you're going to fill in here in that sizing SIMPLIVITY sizing tool. Okay, and then you will get those recommendations. You will get multiple recommendations, depending, of course, what you need. But then he will tell you, hey, this workload you need for SIMPLIVITY 325 Gen 10 models or 380G models and so on. And now, if you are not sure, because of course, this is the added value from the HPE team at Tech Data, of course, this is what we did in the past already. Well, now we can do the same thing with CloudPhysics, of course. So if we get those numbers, of course, we can help you as well. It will make our life even easier now with CloudPhysics that we get those numbers, and then together we can make that sizing for you. Of course, he will give you by default 1 recommendation, but if you hit that button at the top, more recommendations, then you will get a lot of possibilities in here with the default list price. But the default list price at that moment, it gives you an idea already of which one is more interesting compared to the other one. So you can do a filter on that list price in here. Of course, probably you know already that those list prices are definitely not the price that you have to tell to your customer, because there are some promotions, very interesting promotions. We got the new prices already from the upcoming quarter. Well, those SIMPLIVITY promotions keep on existing. So always keep try to contact us, and we will show you how to create the most optimal sizing to get the most optimal prices based on those SIMPLIVITY promotions, of course. Now, by the way, next week there is a webinar, a similar update webinar about HPE SIMPLIVITY, a lot of new announcements on hardware and software, but also we're going to talk a little bit then about that promotion pack, about the promotions that are existing today and how you can, of course, optimize those prices. But those prices, this is then the list price, and this is just to give you an idea. Sometimes it's better to take 3 medium nodes compared to 4 small nodes, or vice versa. Well, this gives you, of course, an idea. Okay. And so this is where you can then filter down and you're going to do a sort on that line about the number of nodes, but then also definitely on that price. And when you're not sure, just call us. Our phone number is at the end of the presentation, and then we're going to help you with that sizing, of course, because then the SIMPLIVITY online sizer will give you those recommendations, all based about how many CPU, how many memory, and so on, that is needed, that is found, assessed by CloudPhysics. And then, of course, the online sizer tool, things like the OVC, that OmniStack virtual controller, we always need to add some memory for SIMPLIVITY to work. Well, it's that SIMPLIVITY sizing tool that will take all this, of course, into account as well. Okay, so at the end as well, from the SIMPLIVITY sizing tool, then you will get that bill of material, and then you can use that one into OCA to create your configuration and then request your special pricing based on the promotion pack, yes or no. At least that's how we do it, of course. Okay, the last one before we go to the demo, remember that this was already announced quite some time ago. We had a webinar about that. The recording is still available in one of the previous SIMPLIVITY update webinars. Is that the 380, the hardware-based model with the accelerator card? is end of life. So that's that legacy model. So the classic model, the t-shirt size as well. Today we are replacing everything now with the SIMPLIVITY 380G models. And there we have those models with 6, 8, 12, 16, and meanwhile now 24 SSDs in there as well. So also here take into account that those classic models with accelerator doesn't exist anymore, but we have that transition table. And by the way, we have now the first customer already who bought 2 years ago 2 380 models with the accelerator card, and now they needed a third node. Well, we just added a 380G with 6 SSDs. It was a small model. Well, now we added that third node in there, 380G. It works perfect. It works really fine. So that is all supported by HPE SIMPLIVITY. Now more information about that as well next week in our SIMPLIVITY update webinar. Okay, so that's it. You're going to get a copy of this presentation, of course, as well for those who connected to this webinar, to this room. So I don't see any questions yet in the Q&A. So I assume that everything is clear, that everything is okay. Otherwise, of course, please use the Q&A window. And what I will do is I will switch now to my web browser. So there you go. You should see my web browser now. First thing is I will always get that question. Hey, what is the link of CloudPhysics? Well, free tool, hpepedia.com. So that's a page that I created for myself, but feel free to use it. There's plenty of links on there. And then when you go to HPE Partner Tools, you will see here the link to CloudPhysics. Okay, so it's app.cloudphysics.com. And by the way, I just found out for some kind of reason I have put SAF. So SAF is in here, Storage Assessment Foundry. So I need to move this one because this one is at the end. It's an HPE partner tool. So I'm going to move that one as well in there, but it is saf.hpe.com. This was the legacy name before, saf.itcs.hpe.com. It still works, but meanwhile, they made the link even easier. So here is SAF, so saf.hpe.com. So it is a partner tool, so you have to log on with your HPE passport. Yes, and then you get this screen. Okay, and then you will see here that here you can download the SAF collector. By the way, here you can download also Ninja Stars, because Ninja Stars is then the tool that probably you will use afterwards to make a storage sizing of a Nimble or a Primera or an Alletra or an MSA or StoreOnce, right? So here you can find all this information. There's also the link to the SAF training. I showed you that screenshot about a lot of SAF training that is available, so you can find it in there as well. And also the help is very good. Now what you're going to do is you're going to hit that add button, and then he will ask you about a new assessment. Okay, customer details, who are you, your email address, and then that invitation email is sent with the download link to that executable. And then you're going to run that executable against, SAF is Windows, Hyper-V, vCenter, storage arrays. So you're going to add all those devices in there. And then at the end, you're going to see here your assessment. So I created for myself a demo assessment. And when you see here a little bit of information already, general overview, but then when you hit that analysis button, well, at that moment here, you will get your view about, in my case, I did it on my environment. So it's a VMware environment. Otherwise, you will see more tabs in here at the top. So I have 2 cluster servers, host utilization, number of guests, vCPUs, physical cores, then the virtual to physical ratio, which is 2.6 to 1, which is okay today with the current or with a recent Intel and AMD CPU. With a recent VMware version, we can go up to 4 to 1 when we're making our sizing. Well, 2.6 today for this customer is really good. And then also about the capacity. And so now here as well, you can see a lot of information about all the hosts. Yeah. You can see the guests. So we have a lot of virtual machines in here, 173 in total with those 566 vCPUs. And then you have the guest performance, you have clusters, you have data store information about HBAs, about operating system, the partitions, and so on and so on. Okay, but it's these numbers at the top that you will need for your, for instance, SIMPLIVITY sizing. By the way, at the top here, you have some reports as well. That Word and that Excel file from LANAMARK. Well, this is the analysis, and then the detailed spreadsheet. It looks quite similar of what LANAMARK was providing. Here's even a little bit more information available in that portal. It's a cloud-based portal, so it is accessible everywhere. Okay. So that's for Ceph in specific environments, or definitely for Hyper-V environments, for physical servers. I will still be using Ceph until the moment that CloudPhysics will support also other platforms, but today it's VMware only. Now, I think honestly, most of the customers are running VMware, so CloudPhysics, for me at least, is the way to go. So, app.cloudphysics.com. If you don't have an account, you can create a free account in here for you. So that's the first thing that you will need to do. And then you will see, follow the procedure. And then you have to send an email to cloudphysics@hpe.com. And then you must say, yeah, I'm an HPE partner in Belgium. Please give me access. And then this will be okay. Okay, so when we log on, you will arrive here in that portal. And then depending of the assessments, because now I don't have that many assessments here, of course. So I was running one for my own environment. And then also I have that demo customer that I will be using, because my own environment, I just have 2 servers with just a few VMs on there. So it's not really representative. So now in this case, I'm going to use now that demo account, of course. But then the idea is here, you hit that button, add customer, you enter the email address of your customer, then your contact, because you can create, of course, multiple contacts within your company who will be using this tool. And then you can even modify a little bit, change the message of the email that is sent to your customer. And then you will get a pop-up. You will get an email and the pop-up, the one that I just showed you in the presentation as well, where that customer can download that OVA file or that URL to deploy that collector. Okay, so at that moment, he needs to start deploy that collector. He powers on, he hit OK, I agree with the end user license agreement. By the way, on this procedure, this is now on my to-do list. So one of the upcoming days, I will create a blog on my website. I will create a little video as well. But by the way, those videos are delivered by HPE as well. So how to set up that collector, that 5-minute thing, hit OK, enter the IP address, username and password of your vCenter, and then put that token in there. And that's it. And then after 5 minutes, you will see here your assessment appearing. Yeah. And then when you click on it, then you will go into that engagement, into that assessment. Okay. And so now here, this is my, first of all, you have a dashboard. Yeah, so this is the general information. You can change this dashboard. You can here change the position of those screens. You can put that one more at the top. You can here change the numbers of information that you want to see in here. So this is a general overview, for instance, with the top hosts. So these are servers, the top 10 hosts with the most CPU utilization, and always interesting, the top 10 VMs with the highest CPU ready number, for instance. So this is the dashboard, but normally we're gonna work here in those cards. And then take a look at all those cards. So we have a summary page in here. So these are the actual numbers of your environment. If you have multiple vCenters, multiple sites, they will be all positioned nicely in here. Then if we take a look at the other cards, so we have that host analysis. So here I see in this environment, I have 65 servers. And as you can see, we recognize Supermicro, Lenovo, Dell, ProLiant, PowerEdge, IBM. So all those servers are recognized in here. And now one of the nice things already that you can see in here is the age of ESXi. Yeah, the server vendor, show me all the servers from vendor A, B, C, forum factor, so you can completely drill down in here. But then also what is nice is, hey, from those hosts which are not compatible with VMware 7.0, because the customer says, I want to deploy VMware 7.0, because now you will see that ESXi VMware 5.5, which is already out of date, right? Not supported anymore. So you can see that in here, ESXi support by VMware, end of support. So this customer really needs to do something. And so now here you can say, hey, tell me which servers out of 65 who are not compatible with VMware 7. Well, there you go, 48. So 48 hosts are not compatible with VMware 7. And of course, now I can say here compatible as well. So these 17 servers, these IBM systems, they are compatible with VMware 7. Probably they will need to do a firmware update for sure. But nevertheless, here you can say, hey, Mr. Customer, or you want to go to VMware 6.7. Well, we still have 45 hosts that are not compatible. So you will need to replace them. By the way, this is also interesting for me, not in HCL. Well, they are running now VMware 5.5 on a server where that server is not even in the hardware compatibility list of VMware 5.5. So that is not even supported by VMware, that specific server. So there are this is already one of those knowledge-based advisories that will come out. So where you can filter down on this screen to go to your customer to say, this is what you have, this is what is supported, this is what is not supported. If you want to upgrade to a specific version of VMware, well, at that moment, you need to replace 48 servers. Okay? We have other cards. I have here a lot of virtual machines, 813 virtual machines, where there are 264 that need attention. Okay, and then you will see here that complete list of 264, and then you can open up, you see that handle, that lever in here. So when you open it up, well, this VM has installed Windows 2003 standard in a 32-bit operating system, which is stopped being supported by its vendor, right? So Mr. Customer, did you know that you have here a lot of virtual machines, 264, that are out of support? Again, one of the examples, because now, of course, you can show up to 100 in here. So then you can scroll down and you will see that there are plenty of servers with a lot of recommendations in here. Okay. What else? Host license inventory. At least there is no red problem, so it doesn't need attention. But anyway, you get an overview about the licenses. If you are okay, if you are compliant with enough licenses in this environment, yes or no. And then, like I said, there are plenty of cards, a simulator for the VM right sizing, 388 VMs need attention. So when you go in there as well at that moment, so you will see, yeah, the list is quite long, so it's loading. But then again, here, there you go. Here are the sizes. This VM is considerably oversized because in 99% of the time, yeah, which removes those usage spikes, well, we see at that moment that this VM has too many CPUs or too many memory or too many this or that or capacity. Okay, so we have here 388 VMs that you need to take a look at, right? And then again, like I said here at the left, you can drill down here about the problems that you might have to drill down and to look deeper into those 811 problems in there. Whoops, I'm sorry, that's the wrong button. I needed this button. Then we have storage analysis. There are simulators in there. And then, like I said, this one is an important one. This is why we are here finally, that HPE HCI sizing analysis. So that is that card. Why we need CloudPhysics, of course, because here is all the information that you need to do to make a sizing for a hyperconverged environment. Okay, and then the magic button is here at the top finally. There you go. So these are the numbers that you need to today manually copy paste in the SIMPLIVITY sizing tool. The idea is that I have seen some mockups already, that there will be a button in here where you will open up directly the SIMPLIVITY sizing tool so that you don't have to open it up yourself. By the way, if you go to hpepedia.com, where is SIMPLIVITY, the SIMPLIVITY online sizing tool, there you go. So you should find that link in here as well. And so when you go to that portal, at that moment, these numbers need to be entered, and you will get then the recommendation of how many SIMPLIVITY nodes that you have. These cards will be available as well for other HPE solutions like DHCI and Synergy and Apollo and so on and so on. But this is the first one, of course, because of the replacement of LANAMARK. And then also here, by the way, you can export here, you can share this information, you can send an email with this information and so on. So all those options to export and to share are, of course, available in here. Okay, so this is the most important information. Of course, as a trusted advisor, well, we have additional cards. Okay, so we have that performance troubleshooting, information about IO contention. Hey, there are 2 recommendations in here about IO contention. So there are 2 virtual machines in here, apparently, that had some issues. There's another one in here as well, where also the throughput, they needed more than that was available on throughput, or where the latency was too high. So again, here we get those contention view on the data store on the host resources. Now, this doesn't give an error. Everything is nicely blue in here, but otherwise here you will be able to click on here, and then you get more information about that specific host, and then the recommendations. Now, by the way, this host, there are 2 recommendations: need attention, has reached the end of support, and also this model is not in the HCL hardware compatibility list of VMware. Okay, so I'll leave it up to you. By the way, there is longer tech talk available from HPE. If you're interested, then just let me know and I will share the link with you. It's on techpro.hpe.com. Then you go to Tech Talks and then look out for CloudPhysics. It was a few weeks ago, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. That was a tech talk by the CloudPhysics people, by Nathan from the CloudPhysics team. And he is giving you the complete demo of all these cards. I think it's a little bit out of scope for this one. Of course, feel free, and then we can talk afterwards and we drill down more in there. Also about storage. So here we have the data store analysis. Whoops, this one is always a nice one. Reclaimable space of snapshots. So here we see here that there are plenty of snapshots that are taking space. And now if that snapshot is open for 1 or 2 days, then I am okay with it. I can live with it. But if it's a snapshot that is more than a year old, probably you forgot it, you didn't even know, and it is impacting the performance of your storage array. And also it is, consuming space. Yeah, space that could be used for something else, of course. So plenty of information, plenty of recommendations in here that you can use. The final one is the health check. Right, so here is that knowledge base advisor, and we have plenty of other recommendations, for instance, for VMware HA, VMware DRS. So all those best practices you can find in here, and you always just have to open it up and then see. You need to enable a mission control here on this one, etc., etc. So hey, This is why I like cloud physics already quite some time, because there's much more outcome than that LANAMARK was doing. And then I know there's always someone interested. Please take a look at it, but always watch out. You need to tweak these. You need to really think, you need to know what you're talking about. There's a little bit more information that you need to know. But anyway, this is a quite big environment. But if you want to run this environment, well, there is a simulator for AWS. Well, if you want to run this workload completely on AWS, well, the annual cost will be $1.5 million without the ingress and egress costs. Because of course, we don't know how many egress costs that you're going to have, because that's the IO, that's the data that you need to get out of the cloud and that you need to get into the cloud. That's the only thing that we don't know. But at least for this, believe me, it's a big customer. CPU, memory, storage, it is a lot. But to run this, you will need a lot of money yearly. Right? Of course, there are some parameters that you need to tweak, because now this is in the US. Of course, we are in Europe. So you need, at that moment, you need to select here. Of course, we're going to run it. Yeah, even London is not even in here. Well, apparently the numbers for London AWS is not even in here as well. It's not available as well. So he knows the numbers apparently just for a few data centers in here. Okay, so oh yeah, there you go. Apparently in London it's more expensive compared to in America. But anyway, there are some more parameters that you need to tweak in here before this is correct, but at least it gives you an idea already. And I use this one just to get an idea. Hey, running it on premises, believe me, you get better performance. Everything is from you. And it's also cheaper, by the way. Okay, but the whole idea why we are here, cloud physics, October 1st on, LANAMARK is gone, create an account, register yourself, send that email to cloudphysics@hpe.com so that you get access to this portal, and then create those assessments at those customers and deploy that observer, and then you will see how easy it is. Finally, by the way, a last thing that I want to highlight is you see that green icon here at the top. Well, that shows that that observer is online and that the information is coming in. Okay, so finally, I can go back here to my partner portal. And so, like I said, this is where we started. So here you will see all your assessments that you will create, of course. Okay, so as far as I know, the most important things that I need to say, I covered in the presentation. Yes, you will get a copy of the presentation, and also this recording will be made available with the basic walkthrough already of the portal of SAF and from Cloud Physics. Now, of course, if you want more in-depth information, well, know that on the help pages here, there are videos, there is a presentation, yeah, it's a guide that is available. And also there is that tech talk from a few weeks ago where Nathan from the Cloud Physics team does a complete walkthrough, more extended as I did now, about this portal. Okay, so that's it. From my side, I see already one question appearing in the Q&A, so that's very good. Thank you very much for that. Is there no HPE Passport integration for Cloud Physics yet? Well, the answer is yet. Well, no, not yet. It is coming. The whole idea is that HPE Passport integration will happen, but it's not there yet, okay? Because they acquired Cloud Physics April-May timeframe. And so, yes, they are working on it. Okay, by the way, this is one of the questions as well in the tech talk. They are indeed working on it. Good. So we'll see probably in the next update webinar that we organize as soon, because I have a direct contact with the Cloud Physics team. So as soon as there are updates, of course, you will be the first ones here at Tech Data that are aware of this. Just keep on following those upcoming webinars. Okay, now if you have any more questions whatsoever, I'm going to switch back to the presentation. Of course, if you have any more questions, There is our email address. There is our phone number. We have a big team with all HPE experts to help you with configurations, with pricing, with all the other things to make you even better, of course. And by the way, I see a second question coming in. I'm going to cover that one directly, but also keep on checking techdataevents.be, because like I mentioned already, next week, SIMPLIVITY update webinar. So that's the 30th of September. The week after, the 7th of October, we have a flex offers session, how you can sell more or get better prices, lower prices to sell more. So that's flex offers. The 14th of October, there is a compute and storage update session. The 21st, there is an Aruba, HPE Networking Aruba update session. And then the last week of October, the 26th, we have a DHCI update session. So there you go, plenty of sessions that we are organizing to keep you up to speed, up to date with HPE, of course. Good, I see a second question. Okay, CloudPhysics only for SIMPLIVITY or also for other? Well, today, gonna say it the other way. CloudPhysics can be used for anything as long as it's an HPE solution, okay? The only thing is, today, CloudPhysics is optimized for SIMPLIVITY. Why? Because we have that card, that HEI sizing card, where you have that button that gives you all the numbers for the SIMPLIVITY online sizer. So that's the easiest. Now, of course, this information can be also used to do a nimble sizing or an MSA sizing, or I just need 4 DL380 servers with VMware, but how many CPU and how many memory do I need? Of course, yes, CloudPhysics can be used. And on the long run, the idea is that everyone will be using CloudPhysics, of course. But it's you then that for an MSA or for a nimble sizing, you have to find the numbers to do that nimble sizing. And if it's not clear, of course, we, me and Wim and Christophe and Steven and so on, of course, we will be there to help you, because we know how to understand these numbers and put them in the correct sizing tool. And for storage, there is Ninja Stars, for instance. Well, the whole idea, but it will take some time because it all needs to be developed. But the whole idea is that also these numbers can be exported with one button directly into Ninja Stars. But it takes some time, of course, but we cannot wait until everything is developed, until everything is working. Okay, that's why HPE said, nope, we're going to stop with paying LANAMARK licenses, because at the end, HPE was paying LANAMARK for you to have access to the LANAMARK portal with a rather basic outcome. And that's why they said, we're going to move forward with CloudPhysics. And now we're going to integrate CloudPhysics everywhere. And of course, SIMPLIVITY is now the first one, but you will see that there will be additional cards for Nimble and Alletra and GreenLake and all the others as well, of course, right? But yes, you can use it as well, as long as it's an HPE solution, then it's okay, yeah? And so from now on, like I said, 30th of September, please export those Word and Excel files from LANAMARK, from those assessments. And so from now on, we're going to be using or SAF, or at least as long as it's a VMware customer, I will be using CloudPhysics. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to stop the recording here.